Speaker, what Dr. Oundo rose on was not a point of order as stipulated by our standing orders. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable KJ, the Honorable Dr. Oundo merely confirmed that that prophecy appeared to rest very well in my soul.
Yes, precisely.
Yes, there is nothing out of order. Honorable Watch, you will continue.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And so I wanted to conclude that point by talking to the question of capitation. I see that about 90 billion has been put on the question of capitation. And just like CDF, I think the issue is usually half the question of allocation, but secondly, a question of exchequer. And even though the House has constantly, in its oversight role, tried to ensure that we match allocation with prompt and timely disbursements of these monies. So, and I have seen on the flip side that the capitation money has gone down from 22,000 Kenya shillings per student to about 17. I should hope that this will not affect the number of students or leave out some of the students, or if there is a gap, I hope that the chair and the budget committee will plug this in supplementary too. On that issue of education of the State Department, I have seen gladly that about 5.9 billion has been reinstated on the question of exams. There is still a shortfall of 6 billion, and hopefully this will be able to be flagged. There is also about 7.5 billion on the confirmation of intern teachers. The only issue that I want to request that we must ensure that is done is a question of equity, one of the three policy issues that I said should underlie our budget making process, so that the teachers and the distribution of this opportunity to have teachers extends to people in far-flung areas and people who historically have not had similar amounts and numbers put and extended to them, can also have proper TSC teachers as opposed to relying on BOG teachers, as is the case in some of the constituencies, including Mathare, and I know also of my good friend, Honorable TJ Kajwang. I wanted to speak on the State Department for Infrastructure. And Honorable Speaker, one of the key issues that I've raised also here in relation to the question of equity. I had recently a debate or pronouncements being made about securization being an illegality. Now, I looked at Section 6 of the Roads Act and Section 32A 1C, and it clearly allows the minister to set apart part of the money that is allocated, of the 50% allocation that is able to go down in terms of distribution, and to set apart this money, invest it, and then plow it back so that we are able to deal with two things. One is a question of pending bills, which continue to be a big impediment in the rollout of new roads and carpeting of roads and maintenance of roads in the case of constituencies like Nairobi. And so the idea of securization would be able to deal with pending bills and at the same time be able to deal with the question of equity. Lastly, because my time is over, is on the question of energy. I cannot fail to thank the committee and Honorable Atandi that through the intervention of His Excellency, you are able to extend 500 million that informal settlements, including my own constituency, Mathare, where one ward with 30,000 people has not seen electricity for the last 7 years, can now be able to have a last mile connection. And I also see that RAREC will be able to implement this. Also on this, and this is my final point as a support, 670, is it million or billion, on electrification of constituencies. I hope this will be divided equitably so that we are able to have street lights and high masts in order to enhance security in our constituencies. I thank you and I support the budget making process and the estimates by the committee. Thank you, Speaker.
The Honorable Mukunji.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also rise to give my contribution. And Honorable Speaker, I also want to take toll and congratulate the chair and the committee. This is never an easy job to actually work on the budget of the country. But first, Honorable Speaker, I want to first clearly indicate that we are talking of close to 900 billion in our deficit in this year's budget, Honorable Speaker. And it is important to say that I believe we need to change how we work on these budgets in a way that if we fell short in our previous years through our collections, we need to take that into considerations and work within our means, Honorable Speaker. And since we are talking about a budget of close to 3 trillion, it tells you, Honorable Speaker, we have actually just expanded our consumption as a country. And Honorable Speaker, I also want to take note that when we talk of deficit, there are so many other things that are not included, including matters to do with pending bills, and now the current issue we are normally hearing about secularization of fuel levy and most likely other levies. And Honorable Speaker, I want to take note of pending projects. And I know every member in his constituency has projects that have stalled and have been waiting funding. And I want to appreciate that I've seen the committee has put in a water project, Itabwa Muthatari and New Kidhemo water project to be completed. And it just required 20 million Kenya shillings, Honorable Speaker, but it has been pending for close to 3-4 years, and people have not had a chance to use the water. Honorable Speaker, as I speak about the irrigation project, I want to take toll and also support the chair of Irrigation and Water Committee and say that, Honorable Speaker, this government and the ministry must really know where we can have impactful projects. And I believe water projects are among the projects that really can change this country and ensure that our country develops. Honorable Speaker, we have had many presidents and regimes making a name. Honorable Mwai Kibaki, His Excellency Mwai Kibaki, made a name through education. He also made a name through SMEs. His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta has obviously made a name in the infrastructure of this nation. The railway systems, the road systems, including the famous expressway. And I believe the place this regime can make a name is ensuring that everybody has gotten water, either for irrigation and, Honorable Speaker, piped water for drinking. That is just my advice. And, Honorable Speaker, I want to take note of the 2 billion coffee cherry fund, which has been allocated. And, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that there is a pending issue on what I would call waiver of our coffee factory debts that has been a promise for years. And, Honorable Speaker, I have heard the majority leader take credit of the good pricing of coffee that has been happening for this year. And I want to correct him and say that, yes, we have had good prices for coffee, but where the government can make an impact is not to take credit of the good pricing, but to ensure the longevity of the good pricing through ensuring that the factories are free of debt, as it is happening in the sugar farming areas, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I have seen a lot of usage of money in empowerment. Honorable Speaker, I have seen leaders led by the Deputy President moving around doing some empowerment programs. And I was very keen to check whether there is an allocation in the budget for that program. And to my shock, I've not seen any, Honorable Speaker. I've seen only 4 billion that has been allocated to the youth ministry, and I believe that is not enough to even cater for empowerment together with the wages. Honorable Speaker, I want to actually...
The Honorable Mukunji, do you need information
No,
from Honorable Watch?
no, I don't need information because of time, Honorable Speaker.
Well,
I'll talk to my good friend, Honorable Alwatch, on the side. But Honorable Speaker, as I continue, I want to say that we need equity in sharing of our budget. And I want to actually differ with many speakers that have said budget committee in the previous years has been skewed. Honorable Speaker, where we are having a skewed budget is when we make a budget in this house, but then somewhere else we have other new places where there is allocation of resources. And this has made only the places that some people have visited to be the ones that are actually getting the resources. I would like to call upon this House to take charge of the budget, where every constituency is represented, except the constituencies that are waiting to do by-elections. And if we do that, Honorable Speaker, I believe we'll be sharing our resources fairly in almost all areas. Honorable Speaker, on education, I want to say that I was speaking to a number of teachers for the last 2 days. And I was shocked to hear there is interference in the NEMIS program that we use to allocate money. And also, Speaker, I know you are shocked when you heard there is a school that got 87 shillings through NEMIS. And this is because I'm told head teachers upload names of the student, but then within a minute they are removed. And this has made the NEMIS system to be unfair to some of the areas and some of the schools. Honorable Speaker, it's good as we allocate money for capitation to actually take charge of an audit of the NEMIS program. Honorable Speaker, I want to talk about the new funding model. And Honorable Speaker, right now we have allocated close to around 97 billion. Honorable Speaker, this program, the new funding model, by the time this country goes fully into the new funding model, we are going to need close to 350 billion to run that university program. I want to call upon this House to actually take stock, and please, we would like, when we see something is not sustainable, to look at how we can reduce and ensure that we don't have a new funding model where students are staying in the universities without very clear ways of paying their school fees. Honorable Speaker, at this juncture, I want to say, of course, CDF has been a game changer when it comes to bridging the gap in the education sector, and I want to put my words there that that is fund that we should fight tooth and nail to protect. Honorable Speaker, as I talk about housing, and I have taken note of Honorable Member from Madare, I also want to say that these are resources that we need to expand their usage. Honorable Speaker, why housing cannot be a major accolade for many Kenyans is because housing are a very personal development agenda. Honorable Speaker, I call upon us to look at how we can amend that law and allow areas that need water to get water, others that need houses to get houses, others that need of electricity to get electricity, so that, Honorable Speaker, we can be able to ensure every part of the country feels value for the resources that they are cut through levy, Honorable Speaker. As I conclude, Honorable Speaker, the police force has had an increment in what they are getting. But I want to say that it is good that
is out of order, Honorable Anthony Lodge.
Yeah, and I apologize because I see you had already almost wind up, for I deliberately waited for you to finish. I am on my feet. I'm on the point of order. Is it in order, Honorable Speaker, for the Honorable Member to attempt to limit the right and put a hierarchy that would place the housing needs of my constituents and those of KJ and informal settlements to put the water needs of his constituency over mine, would it be in order when this is under Article 28 on the question of dignity and Article 43 of the Constitution? Secondly, on the point of order, was it in order to mislead this House that the Deputy President has been running around on empowerment project without a budget? This is both a point of order and a point of information, because I sit in the Education Committee. The program the Deputy President is going around doing is called a National Youth Empowerment and something. What is the other name? Yes. And there is a budget under the State Department of MSME on that one. It is a co-funded project between the World Bank and the government of Kenya. And so there is money and a budget to run off, and it is not, is it in order that the member continues to mislead this House? Thank you.
Honorable Mukunji.
Honorable Speaker, you have to be fair.
Those are statements duly attributed to you, and you want to clarify or withdraw them.
Honorable Speaker, I will ask for fairness in time, because I've been interrupted while I'm finishing up. Honorable Speaker, I just want to say that, of course, if it is genuinely empowerment, it should be very clear on how it is put, it should be coded, and we should clearly know that there is some money for every constituency on empowerment. But Honorable Speaker, I was finishing up, and I wanted to mention something to do with county governments and what they are receiving vis-a-vis what they are collecting in the ANA. Honorable Speaker, there has been a lot of corruption in what counties do in their collections. And that is why there is a big burden, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to the resources they need from the national government. I would call upon this House to come up with more stringent measures to ensure counties' ANA is not misused, and automation of it must be mandatory, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support, and Honorable Speaker, among what I was dictating on housing is what I would call the common user projects that touch on lives of everybody. That is roads, electricity, and water, and everybody needs that. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much.
Is it Honorable Dr. Wilberforce Oundo?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this report is pursuant to this floor of the House, pursuant to Article 221 of the Constitution, that requires the committee to deliberate, hold public participation, and submit its report and recommendations to this House. So it's proper in this House, and that's why we are debating on it. Honorable Speaker, and let me also congratulate my neighbor for presiding over his first report in this matter, even though, let me admit, there's nothing earth-shaking, there's nothing so innovative, there's nothing so departure from the old ritual that's being presented here today. But be it, I know his hands are tied, just like anybody else. I hope it was our own government under the Raila Amolo Odinga, where our hands will be unshackled and will make all the major issues that we need to put into place. Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Dr. Wilberforce Oundo, you've invited a point of order from the chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee.
Honorable Speaker, it's never in my intention to disrupt my brother and my neighbor, Honorable Oundo. But Honorable Speaker, is it in order for Honorable Oundo to belittle this House by claiming that this House does not have powers to make budget, when it is very clear that budget making is the mandate and responsibility of this House? Is it in order, Honorable Speaker?
Honorable Speaker, I did not in any way say that Parliament doesn't have powers to make budget. I just said his hands are tied because of the fiscal framework we are facing, the economic situation we are facing, so his hands are tied. And I said, Honorable Speaker, that if Raila Amolo Odinga was the president, this predicament the country is going through will not be there. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
But Honorable Dr. Oundo, we need also to be factual. For the first time, I've seen budget estimates where a road project, for instance, is proposed in Mandera County. I've never seen any like that before. And for the first time, the constituency of the Honorable Martin Owino, the Iwa constituency, which has never seen a tarmac road or a road raised to bitumen, is in the estimates.
Honorable Speaker.
Several other roads in regions and places which have been forgotten by other budget estimates of the past. So give the devil his due.
Hello, Honorable Speaker, I hope the time you have taken to speak you will give, because you have taken 5 minutes.
It is deserved.
Honorable Speaker, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yes, they can celebrate, but as people of Busia, but people for lesser God, we have nothing to celebrate, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me, and probably to pick up on 2 issues. Honorable Mkunja has left it off, that there are some basic common user facilities that are required. Every Kenyans require them. Other things they can sort themselves out. There are things that are retained by the national government, which we legislate or we budget through this process. Honorable Speaker, when I look at the amount, there is under the roads and infrastructure, there is close to 200 billion. I think so, yeah, 200 billion slated for roads and related infrastructure. And as usual, Honorable Speaker, I've painstakingly gone through this document. The specific itemized roads, where that 200 billion is going to go, I have not seen it. And this continues the opaque nature of budget making that I thought our experts and the chair, we having suffered with him in the trenches, would have been magnanimous enough, or the committee, even the parliamentary budget office, would have annexed to this report and say, out of the following projects, this is where each, the funds totaling to 200 billion going to. Honorable Speaker, again, typical for our nature, we are the same, going back to where we were. Opaque nature, somebody will sit somewhere and basically allocate that money and franchise or just ignore many other places. And that, Honorable Speaker, I say so with a heavy heart that Article 10 of the Constitution that requires inclusiveness, equality, is continuously flouted in the budget making process. So for many of us, Honorable Speaker, we may not have much to celebrate in this budget. Honorable Speaker, allow me now to pick out a few issues, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when you go now to the committee recommendations, for example, I want to draw the 3rd schedule under Vote 1065, University Education. And I want the Kenyans and their parents to hear this very clearly. They have reduced 1.3 billion recurrent from government-sponsored students in private universities. So I want to tell the parents and their children that as you fill KUSIPs this year, if you are allocated to a private university, the burden to go through those 4 years or whichever number of years lies squarely in your hands. So do not make a mistake of accepting to go to those private universities. And for the private universities, this is an open discrimination by your own government against your own children who are children of this country. Then the question you wonder, why don't you issue charters to private universities if we don't allow Kenyan children to go there? Number 2, Honorable Speaker, where we are talking about a complete flouting of Article 10 of the Constitution. They are increasing 600 million for infrastructure support to public universities. Again, it's very opaque. They are not told which university is receiving the money, where that money is going to. Honorable Speaker, the process continues. And Honorable Speaker, I want to go say this on record, that where the specific amount, they have said 100 million to Rongo, 100 million for Rongo University, 125 million to Jaramogi Oginga University, 50 million to Just, I think that's the same university, and obviously, Honorable Speaker, there's zero allocation for Lupe University in Busia County. Honorable Speaker, I also want to bring to the attention of the country that in the same budget, there has been a reduction of 3 billion on secondary school capitation. So what does it mean? It means the parents will have to dig deeper in their pockets to supplement. The argument they are saying probably that there are less students in secondary schools, that argument cannot hold, Honorable Speaker, because the cover-up, the clean-up from the old system forced so many of the students who had been mark-timing to go back to school. Honorable Speaker, I have so many other cases I would have want to pick out, but for the sake of time, let me, Honorable Speaker, address the elephant in the house, the issue of universal health care. Honorable Speaker, I have been a very strong proponent of registration under SHIF and SHA. In my constituency, wherever I go, I sing the gospel, I sing the idea, just like Jesus Christ used to preach all over. Honorable Speaker, there has been very many good cases, and I must applaud there have been many cases. And Honorable Nyikali is here, Dr. Nyikali is seated here with us. We really need to address the issue of the universal health care, the issue of critical illness, and Honorable Speaker, the relationship between SHA and private hospitals. As I stand here, Honorable Speaker, I have a case of a patient from my constituency who is admitted at Zion Hospital in Maradaima here in Nairobi. The bill as of last week, 2 weeks ago, was 450. SHA only paid 56,000. SHA only paid 56,000, Honorable Speaker. The family has raised 170-something. They still have about 200,000, and the person is detained in hospital as we stand today, Honorable Speaker. This is a 19-year-old boy who was accidentally knocked on the road crossing, going to his side hustles, and there has been no attempt at all to solve the problem. I want to implore upon you, to implore you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, and the Budget Committee. We must find a way of how we can have a social intervention system to deal with this kind of cases. We have nowhere where we get 200,000 to solve the matter. The longer they stay in the hospital, the longer the problem becomes. I have another and also detained, Honorable Speaker, in a private hospital in Eldoret. Didn't have SHA, it was not yet registered in SHA, and that's where the danger we have. Honorable Speaker, we must invest in the process of registering the members. Let me conclude, Honorable Speaker, on the issue of money allocated to county governments. And I have seen here, Honorable Speaker, it's agreed all over the country that we don't see value for the money that has gone to county governments. That most of the money is either lost in recurrent expenditure, because county governments have now become employment bureaus. They employ literally everybody, even people who never go to work or who have not even specific job description. They are on the payroll of the county governments. Honorable Speaker, the Office of the Auditor General has requested for more money, and I'm happy the committee has added them more money. We can save much more money and give them more money if they are going to net the thieves in the county governments. For sure, it will be a travesty of justice to add them more money next financial year if they have not brought to book the thieving members in the county assembly. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, I also listened to Honorable Tandi indicate that they have reduced the physical deficit. I am surprised because we have not passed the finance bill. So we do not know how much revenue we are going to generate. I think it's important we tell the people of Kenya the process, how it flows. We cannot talk about reduce 1 million.
Give the Honorable Oundo 2 minutes.
I will not even take 2 minutes. Honorable Speaker, it is important we need the logical flow. We know how much we can spend. We know what are requirements. Then we go for revenue raising measures. Is that point that we'll know what's the fiscal deficit? For example, what if the finance bill fails, we're still going to have another supplementary one immediately like we had last year. Prudent management indicates you must foresee and plan adequately. So, Honorable Speaker, so that KJ can speak, let me conclude here. And no, he was after me. And let me conclude and say, Honorable Speaker, we must monitor budget performance. We appropriate, but Treasury does not disburse the money. At the end of the year, what we are supposed to have done is not done. The budget becomes a consumption budget, not a productive budget, and that's why you find our economy has stalled, is not expanding. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members are advised to read the report of the committee together with the budget estimates under the schedule. The voluminous thing, I think most members normally focus on the summarized report, but this one is a bit more specific. The Honorable Kiari John.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you. And I also must thank the Honorable Samuel Atandi and congratulate him for preparing his maiden budget, and in the same breath congratulate his committee which has judiciously combed through this budget and even had time to listen in on the sector proposals. And I must say that this year it has been a bit different because we can see that this report that he presents to the House is true to the submissions that were made by the different committees before his committee. Mr. Speaker, also allow me to appreciate the tireless work that was done by the Chair Emeritus, the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, who is also a member of this committee, and I want to believe that he was also part of the team that was burning midnight oil to ensure that this gets to us in time. Mr. Speaker, the work done here, we can see that the committee was very keen to move in the direction of austerity. And they were doing this while balancing very many competing interests. And Mr. Speaker, what they have done for the year 25-26 starts us off on a good trajectory towards where we would want Kenya to go, and especially being true to the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. And Mr. Speaker, I want to speak this from the bottom of my heart, that the generation of members of parliament in the 13th parliament will one day look back and they shall be extremely proud that they were part of the team that made extremely difficult decisions when Kenya needed decisions to be made at a time when Kenya could not continue kicking the can down the road, because some of the things that the Honorable Samuel Atandi and his committee are funding in this report are things that Kenya has always wanted to do. Mr. Speaker, not a single presidential candidate has vied in any election in this country and never mentioned the issue of housing. Every time they put it in their manifesto, every time they tried to implement it, because of populist politics, they shied off. But this time round, Mr. Speaker, this is a generation of leaders who have decided to take the bull by the horns, and we are seeing the results, Mr. Speaker. In just 1 year of funding this program called the Affordable Housing Program, we in Nairobi are seeing the benefit of it. Mr. Speaker, words cannot explain what we saw in Mukuru when individuals who would never have dreamt to be in a house that has what we take to be basic amenities, sinks that have running water, toilets that are inside their house, and all these other things that we take for granted. These people who had never imagined that they could live in a stone-walled house were receiving their keys thanks to the decisions that are being made by the generation of leaders this time. Mr. Speaker, in Dagoretti South constituency, we are waiting, coming out of this budget that is presented by Honorable Sam Atandi, we are expecting to see the biggest infrastructural drive in the history of our constituency, Mr. Speaker. Seeing the coming up of affordable housing projects in Gashui, seeing the affordable housing, constructing houses in Reruta, the markets that have broken ground in Reruta, the markets that are coming up to break ground in Waithaka and in Gashui. Mr. Speaker, these decisions that need to be made must be made by people who know that you do not have to always be popular, because sometimes in leadership you have to make very tough decisions, and history shall vindicate you. We have seen it in the case of the Honorable President Emeritus Mwai Kibaki, when he was making the hard and tough decisions, and especially in the coalition government with the Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga. We will remember, we were old enough when Kenyans were shouting them down, saying that Kibaki and Raila do not love Kikuyus. They are demolishing the houses of Kikuyus. But the moment Thika Road came up, the moment the bypasses became operational, today everybody is saying that Kibaki must have been the Thika Road came up. The moment the bypasses became operational, today everybody is saying that Kibaki must have been the best president Kenya had. Because at a time of reform, at a time of building, it might be painful, but the benefits that accrue out of it go into posterity. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Samatandi is helping us fund here the university funding model. Mr. Speaker, you remember when the Honorable Mwai Kibaki attempted to say that there is free primary education, some people were shouting him down. They were saying Kibaki is not giving us masomo ya bure, he is giving us masomo bure. And people were saying it is not possible to admit all those children into primary schools and give them quality education. Today, we are seeing the result of it. So, Honorable Speaker, I do see the work that has been put in by the Committee on Budget and Appropriations, moving us towards the realization of dreams that Kenya has had as aspirations since the inception of country. Mr. Speaker, I did take note of an observation made by the committee in regard of revenue mobilization. And Mr. Speaker, this cannot be taken lightly. When the committee makes a recommendation that KRA has to better its ways of mobilizing revenue. And Mr. Speaker, in this age of technology, KRA can be more innovative, more creative. I am seeing what is happening in Malawi, Mr. Speaker, where their revenue authority is undertaking a lottery that invites people to enter a lottery with their ETR receipts, which is really bringing up the issue of compliance among the taxpayers, Mr. Speaker, to a place where they are able to improve on revenue collection. KRA attempted that, went the wrong way about it. Because when it comes to some of these things, you have to depend on experts to get it right, Mr. Speaker. This issue of revenue mobilization, Mr. Speaker, speaks also to the recommendation, to the observation made by the committee on the management, the mobilization, and the utilization of A within government institutions. And Mr. Speaker, the observation made by the committee must be followed with a recommendation that this committee sees through. Because the way that A is mobilized, the way A is utilized within government agencies, if that was streamlined, we would be able to comfortably raise in excess of over $500 billion just from in A, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, these budget estimates that as presented by the committee are also speaking to issues in the sector that I am superintending over. Mr. Speaker, I chair the Committee on Communication, Information and Innovation. And the budget policy statement did note and identify that the creative economy and the digital economy are offer great opportunities for work, engagement, and also money raising for the youth in this country. And Mr. Speaker, that is why you will find that in this budget, we have been able to allocate in excess of 16 billion Kenya shillings to the State Department of ICT and the digital economy. We have also been able to allocate 6 billion, in excess of 6 billion, to the State Department of Broadcasting and Telecommunication. Mr. Speaker, with this in our sector, we aim to be able to develop the ICT infrastructure by rolling out in excess of 35,000 kilometers of fiber, providing internet connectivity to over 43,000 institutions, schools, hospitals, government offices. And Mr. Speaker, I'm speaking this at a time when it must be noted in this House that connectivity now is not just a mere utility. Connectivity today, Mr. Speaker, is a matter of life and death. There are some systems that are depending on connectivity in the civic areas, even in the security areas, in the military, and even for operations to happen, Mr. Speaker. This connectivity speaks to development of our country and even being able to raise revenue, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we noted when we were doing this budget making process. Mr. Speaker, the final thing that I wanted to mention is that we noted that the persistent budget cuts and the inadequate allocations are leading to delay in very major capital projects, Mr. Speaker. And I do pray that the committee led by Honorable Sam Atandi, he himself, a financial mind of great repute, is going to be vigilant to the extent that this budget shall be implemented as passed by this House, so that, Mr. Speaker, we do not run into the situation where, after we pass such a good budget, we end up in situations where we have exchequer problems, or even worse, come back to the House with a supplementary budget that negates very important things that were passed in the main budget. Mr. Speaker, with those points, I know I have much I would have wanted to say about our sector, but with those few points, Mr. Speaker, allow me to support this report on the consideration of the estimates of revenue and expenditure for financial year 2025-2026 and commend the new chair and his committee for a great job well done. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Martin Owino, MP from the UA, will now be heard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to fully support this budget estimate for the year 25-26. And I want to congratulate the chair, as he moves out there, for the work well done. Mr. Speaker, reducing the fiscal deficit by 0.7 is not an easy task. And I want to ask them to put the foot on the pedal, on the gas pedal, because it's the right trajectory. Mr. Speaker, I want to just pick few items here because majority has been spoken here. I don't want to repeat. But the sugar sector reforms, 2 billion. We come from the sugar growing area. I think this is a good thing to do. I just ask that it should be oversighted well as the leases go on. Most of this should pay the debts which are there. The leases should not take over these factories with people's debt and don't pay. And I want to appeal to the farmers who are boycotting taking sugar because they want their pay. This has been factored in, so please cooperate. The other issue, Mr. Speaker, is the affordable housing. To us, it is different. In our rural setting, it is different from the town setting. Because affordable housing here, as visioned by the President, is about food security. You can remember, Mr. Speaker, if Carrier has five children and they grow up and you only have 5 acres of land, one takes 1 acre, another one like that, you have nowhere to grow. So affordable housing in rural setting will space out more acres for food production. And I call that food security. And I thank the President for that. Actually, if you fly over our areas, you will see all sorts of houses spread all over. And people have nowhere to farm. So this was a great thing. And Mr. Speaker, 95 billion put to it, I think, and I know Ndewa is included. And I want to thank the President for that. And if I don't go far, allow me to thank the President for visiting our constituency. For the first time, we received a President with development agenda. And so we have Gor Mahia Ring Road going to connect all the 7 wards. This budget is fair and is equitable. And that's why we are commending this committee. The issue of TVET, the President came and launched in a rural setting. I really say kudos to him because he follows the vision and makes sure things are done. TVET, or skilled training, is the way to go for our children. And this committee put 43.2 billion so that these kids can be skilled and even self-employ themselves. Because the issue of white-collar jobs is gone. So I know the budget chair is telling me the time, but this is passionate to me as the issue of TVET. The primary healthcare fund, Dr. Nyikal talked about this very well, and the SHA. I want to talk to the public who may be watching this. Don't be fooled that SHA does not work. Those who spread that rumor actually have registered. And if you register and we pump in this money to our primary healthcare facilities, it will increase the availability of medicine, the diagnostic equipment, and the personnel. And that this, to me, Chair, will arrest the disease progression due to poor management of these diseases. The cases which are isolated, like Oundo mentioned, those can be handled differently. But the general picture is that SHA works. And we have testimony from many people whose bills are cleared. The issue of education. Mr. Speaker, in my constituency, I still have teacher ratio 1 to 80. When this is being implemented, I think affirmative action should take place so that those areas with huge teacher-student ratio can be considered. I want to thank the committee about the blue economy, 5 billion. Our people depend on the lake, and it has been underutilized for a long time. I hope this will help improve the livelihood of our people. Power connectivity, in Ndewa specifically, the power connection is under 6%. In other areas, 95 to 100. So even if we put this 63.4 billion, we ask the ministry to use affirmative action. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, budget cannot be beneficial to the public if the exchequer release is as low as 60-65%. And we appeal to the Treasury. We can mention all this type of money, but if you only release a bit of it, and we are in program-based itemized budget, it does not realize the goals. The issue of equalization fund, I don't know, Mr. Speaker, who oversight this. Because we appropriate it here, but we don't see what it does wherever they go. That should be looked into. But in overall, I think this is a good budget. Thank you, Honorable Atandi and your team. Let us remain as a house to oversight this, because if we don't have good implementation, and it will be like a whitewash. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield and I support this budget.
Take 2 minutes. Take 2 minutes.
Honorable members, you are notified that this motion has 3 allotted days. We are on the 2nd day allotted for the motion following the pronouncement I made a short while back, about 1.5 hours ago. So don't worry about reply. It being a 3 allotted day motion means the mover cannot reply today. The earliest the mover will be on the 3rd day, which in all likelihood, time having not been extended, will be tomorrow. The Honorable Japhet Nyakundi will therefore be heard.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also put my word on this budget for 2025-2026. First of all, I want to thank the Chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, Honorable Samuel Equity Atandi, and I call him Honorable Samuel Equity Atandi because of the good job that he has done to make sure that every part of this country gets an equal share of this budget. This is a budget of about 4.23 trillion Kenya shillings, and my eyes have been drawn to more especially the space that the money he has put in to make sure that our young men and women of this country get an employment, more especially in the education sector, where we are having about 4.5 billion Kenya shillings that has been put aside to make sure that the young people have been taken as interns, cognizant to the fact that this is the first time this country has been able to employ over 6,000 teachers, so that to be able to bridge the gap between the teacher and the student ratio. Same case to the security sector, where they have put about 2 billion to recruit the KDF, to recruit the young men and women. And you also know for the last 3 years, as a country, we've not recruited any young people in the police force. And this time round, money has been put in the budget to be able to recruit the young men and women, about 10,000 of them in the police force. This clearly shows that this administration under President William Ruto is ready and willing to make sure that the young people are given job opportunities so that they can be able, one, to serve this country, and number two, to be able to also get a living or earn a living out of that. The UHC has been a thorn in the eye. The young men and women have been operating under some weird circumstances. They've been striking each and every single day. We've been seeing them out of parliament. And as we speak here today, I am a happy man being in the Budget and Appropriations Committee and assuring that the young people that we have put in about 6 billion to make sure that the young people are taken under permanent and pensionable basis, so that they can earn a good living, they can earn some good money, they can contribute to this country. So I want to appreciate the good job that they have done. I also want to appreciate because on the Ajira sector, they've managed to put some money so that the young people who are there can be taken under permanent and pensionable basis. Also 1,000 youths in the Ajira sector who are not on permanent and pensionable basis. So this budget, as I look at it, is a budget that considers the young people of this country, is a budget that will be able to move this country forward. Another thing that has been of joy to me is the fertilizer subsidy. As you know, for the last two years, since we say that we are going to subsidize production and not consumption, we've seen a lot of changes in this country in terms of agriculture. Right now, you've seen coffee has improved from about 50 shillings to about 140, 150 shillings. The sugar sector, as a country, we used to import a lot of sugar from other countries. As we speak today, last year, as a country, we never imported even 1 ton of sugar. As years goes by, I want to assure our neighbors that they'll be buying sugar from Kenya, which is a very good thing. So I want to say that this budget is a budget that has a lot of equity, is a budget that will be able to move this country forward, and is a budget that I am sure will bring a lot of changes in this country. I want to thank you, Honorable Speaker, for that opportunity, and I support this bill.
The Honorable Naomi Wako. In the meantime, would the Chair, Budget and Appropriations Committee approach the Speaker?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice to this very important motion on consideration of the budget estimate 2025-2026. Honorable Speaker, much has been said, and before I proceed, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the Chair for his commitment, together with the committee, and for coming up with such a good, progressive budget that gives Kenyans a lot of hope. Honorable Speaker, I don't want also to forget the past years that Honorable Ndindi Nyoro led this committee, and for the great work they did while he was serving us as the chair. Honorable Speaker, because of time, I will move very quickly, and I want to just highlight on different areas that this budget has given attention. Education, that has been given 700 billion, and parents who have been assured of examination fees and all these others, the examination that has been catered for, and also giving hope to our education system, which clearly shows that this government cares about the future of this country and of our young people. Honorable Speaker, another critical area that I want to touch on is on the matter of IDs, identification and distribution of IDs. And Honorable Speaker, many years ago, we have been, especially those of us who come from Northern Kenya, have been marginalized because of vetting. And today we have some people, some elderly people who are 80 years old, whose children have been educated, their sons and daughters working in government offices, but they have all been denied identity cards. But today, I want to appreciate the effort of our president, who has given this a lot of attention. And for sure, we are happy because he has said we do away with the vetting. And as a result of that, today, many people are registering for their identity cards. And it is my prayer that this process will smoothly go on because of now the allocation of the budget that we have put there, 1.4 billion, may not be enough because of the demand that is there, but it will help us. And as we do this, I pray that the issue of mobility, the issue of having enough personnel, because right now they do not have enough personnel, will be put into consideration so that they can run this process smoothly and effectively. Honorable Speaker, again, the issue of operationalization of administrative units that has been given 600 million, which is good but not enough. And I pray that more units, more administrative units will be created, the areas that have been neglected in the past, so that we can get services, we can take services closer to the people. Another critical area that has been considered is agriculture, health, and we know that many people have suffered in the past because of health issues, and with the budget that we have allocated, I'm sure we'll be able to take care of our people. Honorable Speaker, allocation to the county government, the 4.5 billion is a good thing, and we are progressing. And in addition to that, there is what we call equitable share